get into an empty deal, in my opinion, whether it's high school, college, or even the pro, you have to make sure that you have like 5 or 6 base concepts. And in those 5 or 6 base concepts, you've got to be able to move people around. So you have to have different personnel groups, in my opinion. So your backs, who are your best pass receiving backs? Who are your best pass receiving tight ends? Who are your quicker receivers? Empty is not as big of a package for a Randy Moss type of player, because there's not a lot of downfield routes in empty. Empty is more of a package for your quicker Wes Welker, Danny Woodhead, guys at Penn State, some of our quicker players at Penn State, some good quick tight ends like Aaron Hernandez, good seam runners like Gronkowski, guys like that. But it's not necessarily a package for, these 6'4" goal and post route runners. Okay, just remember that. That's just my theory on that, and that's what we do. But we got to have 5 or 6 concepts where guys can move around within the concept and know what to do. So when we're watching this tape, I'll try to point that out to you. All right, don't worry about, figuring out how we call routes. Just know that we call a route at Penn State from the strength of the formation to the weak side of the formation. All right, so when we talk about this route right here, okay, here's the deal. This is called, whatever the formation, let's say it's Brown, all right? So right here we've got gun Brown right, 74 HOSS X follow. 74 being the protection, all right, HOSS X follow being the route. HOSS, at New England and at Penn State, what we did was our routes were words, and they were word association. So we had single receiver routes, comeback, slant, hitch, whatever, okay, go, post, all right? Then we had 2-man concepts. HOSS is a 2-man concept. That's a hitch by the outside receiver and a seam. Okay? Then we have 3-man concepts that were words. Parachute. Okay? Parachute is a curl, a flat, and what we call a shoot route. We had different words that these guys, we were not a number system, okay? So we weren't a number system. So that's a big thing to understand. So when we talk about HOSS right here, all we're saying is on HOSS X follow is this guy's in a max split, number 1 strong. He's got a 6-yard hitch that converts versus roll or press. This guy is the number 2 strong receiver. He's a seam runner. Okay, so he's the seam. There's HOSS, hitch and a seam. On HOSS X follow tells everybody else what to do. Strong side number 3 has a return that can sit if he's not matched or come back out if he's matched. Number 2 weak has a return that has to come back out because we have a follow in cut behind it. A follow in cut, all that is it's really the reverse of a speed out. So it's a 9 to 12 yard rolled in cut where you want to choke it down versus zone coverage. So it's obviously this is a zone coverage route. You don't want too much HOSS X follow versus man. Okay? So now let's just talk protection here real quick. All right, so this is an odd front. It's the Baltimore Ravens. That's Mike, and Tom's going to decide what to do based on these safeties. If he sees 2 high safeties, he'll make a read a call, and we're dueled on both sides. Guard here to here, left guard, right guard, here to here. So it takes 2 on both sides to be hot. Okay? The read of the route. Let me just explain to you this. When we teach reads at Penn State and when we teach reads when I was at New England, everybody, like I've heard quarterback coaches talk before, and, I've mentioned Charlie a couple times. One of the things I learned from Charlie was, these guys need to be able to play fast. So you can't, like when you're talking about a quarterback read, you can't give the kid 9,000 ways to read a route. Like, you're talking about paralyzing a kid. Like, that's ridiculous. So you got to give him a good thought process. So we have 2 thought processes when it comes to reading routes. We say, okay, here's the first one. It's a progression read. It's right to left or left to right. And when it's a progression read, what we say is this, guys. Put my back to you. We say, okay, if it's a right to left read, that means on the right side is the vertical portion of the route. And on the left side is the horizontal portion of the route. So when we're designing a route and we say it's a progression read route, we're starting with the vertical and we're working our eyes back to the horizontal. We never want to chase the read. So you never, unless you know where you're going with the ball, you never want to start with the horizontal and chase your eyes to the vertical. Okay, so that's what we do in that regard with a progression read. That's important to know. And then the other way that we teach reads is, we say, this side of the route is a man route. This side of the route is a zone route. So if it's cover 1, man free, you're working this side. If it's cover 2, it's zone, you're working this side. So it's a coverage read. So just understand, and we got to do a great job of teaching these guys how to read coverage and what coverage is. Okay, so HOSS follow falls under the progression read. We start right here, it's HOSS is to the right, so we start with the hitch. All right, we work to the seam, strong return, weak return, back to the in cut. So it's A, B, C, D, E. Okay, a lot of times Tom, he went with what we would say is the matchup. Okay, and so he felt like if he had Welker matched up on a linebacker and a quick route, that's what he was doing. Okay, now, again, in all these empty routes, you have to have answers for blitz 0. Okay, so this was not an odd front. This was an even front. It was an under front, okay, because you had a 3 technique over here. So what he's doing here is he's telling everybody that Ray Lewis is the Mike, and in this picture here, he was concerned about 53 maybe coming because of where this safety had started out, so he kept the slide on for 53. 5-man slide for the will. So anyways, one of the things about empty that I love is what it is it's a formation indicator for your quarterback. Okay, what does that mean? So you line up an empty, and everybody says, well, you spread them out so he knows where to look. It's not just that. It is that you spread them out and it gives you a better view of what's going on, no question. But it's also where you put guys. So in that last picture, Hernandez was a tight end out to the right. We had a back or a running back out to the left, whatever it is. Okay, who goes out with the tight end and the running back, right? Listen to me. If we get empty and we put the running back out there or the tight end out there as the widest receiver and the corner just bumps out, well, you know it's zone coverage. Okay? If you get empty and you put the back out there to one side or the other as the widest receiver and a linebacker goes out there with him, it's some type of man coverage. If a safety goes out there with him, it's some type of man coverage and it's probably blitz so that they leave the linebackers in the box because they're going to blitz them. So we use empty as a formation indicator, making sure that our players know where everybody is in the formation. All right, so like right here, Northwestern, this is our back. Our tailback is out here down at the bottom. Again, this is 74 HOSS follow. Okay, and what they're doing is they're trying to get the safety out on him and put a corner in on the tight end. I mean, they're all messed up. Now, whether we take advantage of it or not is another thing to be seen. Okay, so right here, Matt, for whatever reason, Matt McGloin, he made this guy the Mike and probably... this guy the Mike, and probably because they were running around, he just left the slide on for the will. You can tell by the center kicking back over to the will. Okay, so he does a nice job here of trying to step up. Here's your return here, your seam. Again, on the seam route, you got to do a great job of not lining up in the seam, and you got to work to the seam. So this isn't a great seam route. When we had backs out here at the hitch, we didn't tell them to convert too often. We would just tell them to run the route without converting. All right, so here's an odd front. Okay, so here's a double duel. So he made this guy the Mike. He made a read a call because it's 74, and you can see both guards dueling, here to here and here to here. And now he's going to read it out. He's got a great matchup here with Hernandez at number 3. Now, think about these last 2 New England pictures. We've been moving these guys around a lot. Hernandez in that last New England picture was out here. So he's got a good matchup on the Mike linebacker with Hernandez. Okay, again, quick players in empty, running quick routes because the ball's coming out quick. Now, guys, another quarterbacking note. You've got to make sure that your guy understands when it's a 3-man rush, he has what? He has all day. He's got 5 on 3. He shouldn't be in a rush to get rid of the ball. All right, let the route develop. Now here, this guy just came open, of course, so he gave him the ball. But like on 3rd down, when you get a lot of, we call a 3-man rush, P rush. When you get a P rush on 3rd down, it's 3rd and 10, let the route develop. Don't be in a rush to get rid of the ball. You got 5 on 3. So have some patience. All right, here's just one more shot of this route. Now, here's a mistake that Matt made. We talk to our guys all the time, the quarterbacks, about caps. What is a cap? A cap is a safety capping behind a linebacker. Okay, and if a safety's capping behind a linebacker, usually that means something's up. The linebacker's coming. We use the word cap when we talk about that. So right here, Matt, he left the slide on for the will when he knew that this is a cap right here with the strong safety capped over the Mike linebacker. So now we're having to throw hot, and we really shouldn't have to, because if we make a read a call right here, we got this picked up. They're only bringing a fifth guy. So this is just bad ball. This is what we got to do a better job of next year, of getting this taught better to our quarterback. We don't have to throw hot here. Okay, so that's that route, but we're throwing hot on that one because we didn't point it correctly.